I gotta admit, I laughed my ass off when I saw you walk in this gym. I was like, that is the most viral boxing video.
And I was walking like, oh shit, am I gonna kick? Am I gonna get kicked out? But the first thing, I'm gonna see him around. But the first thing I got from one of the guys that was out there, he's like, you know, welcome here. You know, you're an inspiration to us. You're a great trainer. So I feel good.
And
No bad blood.
Nah, not at all.
And your brother was on Showtime, so I gotta ask, is it Flanagan or Linares? Who would you prefer?
Look, Flanagan still has a fight on the 8th, April 8th, and he's in a tough fight against Peter Petrov. So we don't know what's gonna happen there. Anything could happen. So right now, as of right now, I think it could be Linares, because that's the fight Mikey wants. But if we can't work something out with Linares, then we'll wait for the winner of Flanagan, Peter Petrov, and we'll go from there.
And boxing fans are clamoring. Many boxing experts believe that Mikey Garcia has a chance to be the next pay-per-view star. When is he going to make his big LA debut in a big fight? I know maybe you want to see it, but I know I don't want to go to Vegas no more to see Mikey Garcia fight. I want to see him fight in his backyard.
I think it's going to be his next fight. That's the plan, you know. His next fight, if it's Linares or Flanagan, Peter Petrov, we don't know. Unless something bigger than that happens and the fight belongs in Vegas, then we'd have to do it in Vegas. But as of right now, the plan is to bring Mikey to LA in his next fight.
My last question for everybody goes, you said bigger. In your head, you didn't say the name, but you said bigger. Any 2 or 3 fighters you have that may be bigger than Linares?
Well, there's not only 2 or 3. There's quite a few, but the fights that could make sense to me, and like I said, only in a perfect boxing world, the fight I would make would be against Pacquiao. You know, that's the fight I would make, because I think Mikey's skills-wise, power is there. I think Mikey has a good shot. I'm not saying it's going to be easy, you know, and it would also be big for Pacquiao. I think it would do numbers a lot better than he's done against Jesse Vargas or even Timothy Bradley. I think Mikey versus Pacquiao would do good numbers. It would be a great fight. If Mikey wins, then Mikey becomes the next pay-per-view star. And if Manny wins, then Manny beat a solid fighter, solid champion, and Manny's still the world, the champion of, world champion, and still the best welterweight in the division.
What are your thoughts when your brother called out Keith Thurman?
Well, at first we thought it was, he was just playing around, but he really meant it. I know. When my dad told him, "What are you talking about? There's, forget about it." Mikey explained to my dad, and he really meant it. Mikey doesn't want to just take easy fights, and they offered him a date in June to fight here in LA, and they gave him a name. He's a former world champion, a guy that, solid guy, former world champion. And Mikey said that fight doesn't mean anything to me. I'm passing on that one. I want big fights. So Mikey's not going to fight unless it's a unification title against Linares or Flanagan, Peter Petro, whatever it is, or maybe move up in weight and challenge somebody at 140 or even 147. That's the way I see it. Unless there's nothing available, then Mike's going to have to take whatever's out there. But right now, Mike's plans are to fight everybody, the best in boxing.
You are familiar with Chavez Jr. Chavez is not embarrassing right now. He's looking really serious about this fight against Canelo. What are your thoughts? Because when you see pictures of him, he looks sharp, he looks ripped, he looks ready.
Look, and I'm actually in touch with them. The way training camp is going. Lupe, his trainer is always calling me, telling me how things are going. Chavez is always saying hi to me and everything. So, the motivation that he's got right now and the way he's training, like I'm telling you, I'm not saying he will beat Canelo, but I give him a really good shot. He's just too big. It'll be huge, But I also wouldn't be surprised if Canelo boxes smart and then catches him with a good body shot.
Right.
Anything could happen. And of course the odds are in favor of Canelo, but I do give Chavez a really good shot.
Would there be any chance that you catch the Gennady fight against Sandy?
I see it, definitely.
What are your thoughts? And do you think if Canelo is victorious against Chavez Jr., will he take the fight in September?
Well, I think Jacobs did a great job. Triple G was Triple G looking for the knockout, couldn't land. that solid punch where he could knock him out. So I think the credit goes to Daniel Jacobs. He fought smart. He did really good. So that was maybe a fight where Canelo should look into. I think I honestly believe that when they do fight, I think Canelo's going to beat Triple G. I don't think it's going to happen in September. I think it'll happen until May of next year, and I think Canelo beats Triple G.
Do you think they're just going to catch him with age?
I think so. Yeah, of course. He's 35 already. One more year, he'll be 36. Canelo's only 26 now, so he'll be better and stronger a year from now. So I see Canelo beating Triple G.
Freddie said he got a little bit exposed in the ring. Do you agree with that?
Look, I do agree with that, and that's just because Jacobs just fought a great fight. Fought very smart, and all of Triple G's previous opponents had that fear. And I'm not saying Jacobs didn't have it. It's just that Jacobs got that confidence and was able to say, man, he's not what everybody thinks he is. If he lands, then of course, he's gonna land and hurt anybody and knock anybody out. But he never did. So the way Jacobs fought was the only way you could beat Triple G is by fighting smart, keeping him on the outside, and boxing him.
A lot of people say that the big factor was his weight. He walked in the ring like heavy. You think that's true or not?
Well, that happens to a lot of fighters, man. That's why a lot of fighters, we've seen it before. Fighters gain 20 pounds, and most of the times that does give them that advantage. There's fighters that gain 5 or 6 pounds compared to 20. Then you're talking about 15-pound difference. It does make a big difference. That's also why I think Chavez is going to be way bigger and heavier than Canelo. So I think he's going to be able to take whatever Canelo lands. So I think it did make a big difference.
Now, Manny Pacquiao is obviously the most ripe orange on the tree. Adrian Broner wants him, you want him. How does that fight happen? Do you go up to 140, 138? Is it a catchweight fight or is it a 130 fight?
He's a welterweight champion, right? So it'd have to be for his welterweight title. Maybe at a 142, give or take, somewhere around there. Because, that's, and it's not like Broner or all those guys are calling him out because it's an easy fight. It's not, or Mikey doesn't want to fight Pacquiao because it's an easy fight. No, it's probably the most difficult fight out of all. But Mikey just wants to fight the best, and they know that beating Pacquiao, if they're able to beat or at least do good against Pacquiao, their stock goes high. I don't know what happened. I know there was negotiations with Danny Garcia, with Broner, with Amir Khan. I don't know what the problems were, if it was money or whatever it is. I know Mikey. I've already talked to Mikey, and we wouldn't push for the kind of money that these other guys are asking. We would actually fight for a lot less than what they're asking for, just so the fight could happen.
Or at least what they turned down. They turned down something along the lines of $5 million. That's what they turned down. Is that good enough?
Mikey would never turn down $5 million. I'll kick his ass if he did. Nah, you know what? We know that to be able to fight the best and have a chance at beating them and becoming a big name, then you have to work with them, and we know he's a star. So yeah, we know he's gonna make the $10-15 million payday, even if we just make 5. Mikey's willing to do that, 100%.
How about Mikey versus Adrian Broner?
That's something that would also be huge for Mikey. Mikey being able to fight or beat Broner will make Mikey a big name too. Oh no, Broner's huge. So yeah, no, all those fights are fights that Mikey wants.
Robert, but he'll have to get past his prodigy, Robert Easter first, 135.
Who's that?
Robert Easter.
Who would have to get past Robert Easter?
Mikey.
I think Robert Easter has a mandatory. Mikey, like I said, if Mikey's gonna fight all the champions, that's what he wants. But we're talking about Linares because that's actually a mandatory. Flanagan is fighting Peter Petro, so they'll be available by the summer. Robert Easter has a mandatory to do because he's IBF champion, so he has a mandatory to do. So if anything like that happens, it would be maybe towards the end of the year or next year. So definitely, we would fight anybody. Mikey doesn't mind fighting Robert Easter Jr. and if Broner his promoter or Al Heyman are able to negotiate something where the mandatory steps aside, then we'll fight this during July. Mikey has no problem fighting. Mikey wants to unify the title or challenge somebody for the title.
Would that be for the best interest of Easter's career as well? To step aside money for his mandatory to fight Mikey, who's a bigger fight? Would you think that would be?
Well, he would want it because that's a bigger payday for him, and of course, fighting Mikey would be huge for him too. Especially if he was able to beat Mikey, it would be huge for him. But that's up to his management, his promoters, whatever it is. We can't make those calls.
Robert, I want to go back to the fight with not the lucky Jacobs, but Chocolatito. What was your reaction when you saw him go down, and not just go down, but also lose?
Look, I think Chocolatito's still a great fighter. He's very tough, throws a lot of punches, very good skills, but he does get hit. I was surprised, I didn't know who the other guy was. My kids were saying that Cuadras had already beat him, and I don't even know if that's right, but they said that Cuadras had beat that guy, so I thought it was going to be a comfortable win for Chocolatito. But when I see the fight get so bloody and then he got dropped, then we enjoyed a great fight. I still think Chocolatito won, but it was a great fight.
Now, a lot of critics had him #1 pound for pound, and after that fight, there's talk about Lomachenko or somebody else, Golovkin or Crusher being #1. Who are your top 3 pound for pound?
Look, I like to go by skills, and if I go by skills, because if we go, by accomplishments, Pacquiao should still be pound for pound for everything he's done. He's still champion, and he's done so much. But skills-wise, honestly, my top 3 right now, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people will probably agree with me. I think it's Lomachenko, Crawford, and Mikey. Those are my top 3 pound for pound fighters. Top 10, nobody even mentions Mikey because he just came back 2 fights after his long retirement, 2.5 years layoff. But I think skills-wise, it is Lomachenko, #1, Crawford, and Mikey. But Ward has done a lot. He's a world champion. He beat Kovalev. There's Chocolatito still up there. There's so many fighters out that we could name in the top 10. But I like to go for skills, smart, and being smart in the ring. And Lomachenko's probably the best at it.
Mentioning Ward and Crusher, if the rematch happens, do you see winning? Do you see the same outcome, or do you see it the way?
Well, I don't. If we see the same outcome, I think it'd be another controversial decision because being there, I was okay with Ward winning. But then when I went back home and seen the fight again, I think Kovalev won. It was close, but I think Kovalev won. I think in the rematch, Ward will make some adjustments. I think Ward's that smart, that fighter that's very smart and could make a big difference in the rematch. Kovalev is Kovalev. I think Kovalev would actually just continue putting pressure and aiming for that power shot and try to knock him out. But the one that would make the adjustment would probably be Ward. But I wouldn't be surprised if it goes the other way around. But in boxing, I would pick Ward in the rematch.
I saw Abdermada's around here. What are we expecting to see him fight next? Are we at some point going to see a rematch with Leo Santos?
No, that's another one. Just like Mikey, after his win, very good win, after he beat Cuellar, I said, look, Abner, this is what I would like to do with you. Let's come back sometime in April or May. Get up, not an easy win, but I said the rematch with Johnny Gonzalez, Lee Salby. He doesn't want out of that. He wants the big fights. So we're waiting on see what happens to do the rematch with Leo Santos. That's all he wants. He doesn't want to wait. He doesn't want to take a fight in between. Me, like I said, this was my first fight with him, so I wouldn't mind having 1 or 2 more before the big one. But he wants to wait for the big one, and that's the way he is. So I don't blame him either. He wants to fight Leo, and I think that's what's going to happen. I don't know when, but it should happen in the next few months.
Now, you said you picked Mikey Garcia over Andre Ward. I got to ask you why. You said Lomachenko, Crawford, Mikey Garcia, and you said Ward is up there. Why wouldn't you put Ward in the top 5, or maybe the pound for pound versus Lomachenko, Terrence Crawford, or Mikey
Well, because
Garcia?
why? Because he didn't look too good against Kovalev. Even though he beat him, even though they gave him the decision, I don't think he looked very good. He got dropped. I don't think he looked very good. He has he won the tournament. He's beat a lot of big names. So yes, he probably belongs in the top 5. But I said, me personally, my top 3, Lomachenko has looked great. I don't think there's, except for Salido a couple years ago. But besides that, he's looked sensational. So has what's his name? Terrence Crawford. Every time he fights, whoever it is, maybe he hasn't fought that top big name out there, but it doesn't matter. Whoever he fights, he looks really good. And so is Mikey. So that's why, skills-wise, that's why those are my top 3.
Now, Bill Belichick put a camera when he was scouting the Jets. Are you doing that for Lomachenko for the 2018 fight for the big money?
Look, me and Lomachenko, he was training in my gym, and he's a hell of a person. Him and his dad, Igis Klimas, is great. Great person.
Igis is awesome.
Best manager right now, and I'm very happy for them. And I know that I wouldn't really want to see it, but this is business. I know that me and Klimas, we talk all the time, and we know that we're looking for next year to do that fight. So whenever we do, it's gonna be huge. It's gonna be a huge fight.